Hi everyone, today's video is on popular demand. So I'm going to share a few tips when it comes to Calathea care. Before that, a quick overview of these plants. Calatheas are also now called Gopertias. If you hear Gopertia makoyana or a Gopertia medallion, don't worry about it. They're talking about the Calatheas. They belong to a rhizomatous family of plants. They are perennial plants and they are native to tropical American countries, right? Especially Brazil. And interestingly, in these countries, their leaves, especially the leaves of the big Calathea varieties, they are used for food wrapping as well as handicrafts, etc. In nature, they grow on the rainforest floor, which means that they never get direct sunlight. That kind of gives you a good tip about how they grow and comes to growing tips when it comes to Calatheas. The first tip number one, is about the same light. Calatheas don't do very well in bright light. Even in my north facing balcony, I keep them a little aside, closer towards the door and not directly at the balcony railing, because even that much of light is enough to burn their leaves. So if you're looking for shade loving plants, Calatheas are the best candidates for it. So what they are more concerned about is more of the heat from the sun rather than the light. So you give them indirect bright light, they should be okay, right? It is the and they should be okay in shade as well, okay? But do not give them any kind of direct heat from the sun. So that's an absolute no for them. So these plants can grow indoors, they can be grown in your balcony, but as long as they are not facing the sun, right, they should be okay. Tip number two, and I think in my opinion this is the most important tip, is their watering schedule. Calatheas like to be consistently moist. And what that means is not that they are soaking wet, not that you need to water them daily. But what I mean is that you need to have some kind of regular schedule when it comes to watering Calatheas. If the schedule is once a week, then stick to that schedule. Ideally, stick to the same time as well if possible. For instance, I prefer watering them late in the evenings. I stick to a 5-day schedule when it comes to watering them. And the way I water them is I have them in very loose soil. So I water them thoroughly and then let them be. And when I see that the top 1 or 2 inches of soil is relatively dry, that's when I water them again. Again, seasonally this changes a bit, but consistently sticking to the same schedule and keeping them on a routine watering schedule really helps these plants. The other thing is the kind of water that you're using as well. Calatheas are one of the most sensitive plants when it comes to chlorinated water that is heavy in salts, etc. So whenever I water them, I do use tap water or once in a while maybe RO water. I ensure that the water is kind of standing in a bucket for the whole day if I'm watering them late in the evening. These are sensitive plants, so ensure that not using hard water to water them. RO reject water is an absolute no unless you want to kill them. That's tip number 2. Third one is a kind of a connected tip, right? I did speak about soil. So use soil that is well draining and loose. They are not very particular per se about soil, but whatever soil you're using, make sure that it is loose and well draining. You can go the coco peat, perlite, that route, versus the soil that I'm using is more like succulent soil, to be honest. I'm not using coco peat in my Calathea mix. And the reason for that is I just want to have some control over the watering schedule especially. And Calatheas are, I think, one of the few plants where I also change their soil pretty often, maybe because of the salt buildup, etc. So I'm a little more finicky about these plants than other plants. So you need to keep monitoring these plants on a regular basis. So that's tip number 3 for you. Tip number 4, I would say, is humidity. These plants love their humidity. Humidity has got nothing to do with misting, spraying water on them, etc. That's only going to wet their leaves, do nothing else. But they love the monsoons. They do really well in the monsoon season. But you need to maintain that humidity, and humidity 60% and above is what calatheas are looking for. So few tips to increase humidity. One is you can use a humidifier, you can use a humidity tray, and you can make your own humidity tray as well. What you need to do is just put some pebbles on a tray and put some water in it and place the pots on the pebble tray. Ensure the water doesn't reach the pot, but it evaporates and increases the humidity around the plant. The third way to increase humidity is to bunch them all together, so they can create their own little micro environment, so to speak. The one that works the best would be the humidifier. When it gets very dry, the air gets very dry, especially in summers, that's when they require some strong humidity. So that's tip number 4. And the last tip is around fertilization. These are not heavy feeders. First of all, growing them for their foliage. So the focus has to be on a nitrogen-rich fertilizer, which can increase foliage. Go easy on the fertilizer when it comes to calatheas. And if you're using fertilizers as well, use an organic fertilizer or vermicompost once in a while, diluted. Okay, so if you're using 2 spoons for other pots, you might have to go for only quarter to half a spoon for a calathea pot. So that's the dilution I'm talking about. Or use slow release fertilizer. So these plants are also called prayer plants, and they belong to the Marantaceae family. The reason why they are called prayer plants is during the day these plants open up like this, so that whatever light they are getting, they are able to synthesize it through the photosynthesis process, okay, through the leaves. But in the evenings, they want to minimize this. They kind of just look upwards, right, as if they are praying. So that's why the name prayer plants. And the beauty of calatheas is not just their foliage on the top, even their back, the underside of the leaves are so pretty, with this purplish, especially look at this Mackoyana, look at the underside of all of them. Okay, so this is also the medallion. This is absolutely gorgeous undersides as well. Normally in a home environment, they don't tend to bloom, but I have been extremely lucky with mine. So this Cora has bloomed for me multiple times. Today I was pleasantly surprised to see my Louise blooming as well. It looks like a nice little white inflorescence. So I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, so quickly I'll give you a quick tour. So this is my Calathea or Gopertia louise. This is the lancifolia. It is also called the rattlesnake calathea. This is the Rosiopicta. Gopertia rosiopicta or Calathea rosiopicta, also called Rosie short form. This one has a lot of names. So this is Calathea mackoyana. This is also called the peacock calathea or the cathedral windows. This one is a Calathea or a Gopertia cora. Okay, and then you have this one, which is a silver plate calathea. And this one is the medallion, okay, Calathea medallion. It's also called the Gopertia picciana. These are the calatheas that I have here on display. I haven't really got a lot more that I have in the balcony. There are others which belong specifically to the Maranta family. Like you have the Zebrina or the zebra calathea, or the ones that belong to the Thenanthe family as well. Okay, where you have the Burmarxia, etc. Those I haven't got them here, but the care is almost similar across all calatheas. So these are some of the tips that you can use to keep your calatheas happy. Sometimes if you feel that the calatheas are not following this phenomena of opening their leaves during the day and closing them in the night, there are 2 reasons, right? One is they may not be getting enough water, they might be underwatered, or they may be getting too much light. Now that's an easy fix. So if you feel that they're not being well hydrated, do hydrate them. And you can't grow calatheas in garden soil, right, or nursery soil. You have to change. These are very sensitive plants, and these are very expensive and exclusive plants, and if you want to grow them, you need to give them the right kind of care. Think about the rainforests. Think about what is that a plant that is growing on the forest floor requires, right? It obviously requires less of light, more of humidity. It's raining all the time in the rainforest, so it requires that additional moisture. The forest floor is enough to fertilize it really, and naturally fertilize it, so it really doesn't require any additional external fertilizer. Reason why I talk about where the plants are from is for you to relate to their native habitat and be able to compare, and that's the best way to find out what the plant requires. Although they are hybrids, right, most of these are not your original species, but even with hybrids they do retain most of the traits of the original species. So that's calatheas for you, or Gopertias. I am still trying to get adjusted to this new name because of this whole DNA based investigations and information that is available now. There's a lot of reclassification happening in different genera or genus, right? So yeah, we also have to kind of update ourselves with the times. But I want to make sure I give you all these names, because if you're looking or searching for additional information about these, you need to be able to find it readily. Okay, I am not going to say that these are easy. Everybody gets very fascinated with their beautiful foliage and falls in love with them and just wants to get them into their homes. But we really need to give them that additional care. They are like these special children, though, that require that special attention to be able to thrive. And if you give them the right attention, they will thrive. All the best to all of you who have brought these wonderful plants into your collection. I hope this video is going to help you take good care of them. Thanks so much. Bye.